Hey, what's up, you guys? Old man Buck Nye back at you with another true story. This one's a good one, too. So, this story happened to me when I was 28 years old and happened in British Columbia, Canada. I'm born and raised in Ontario. So, when I turned 28, I decided to go on one last adventure in life before I got old because I thought that once I was 30, I was going to be old, which now looking back on it, well, yeah, I won't say nothing about that, but yeah. So before it's probably just a young guy thing, right? Like you're about to turn 30 in a couple of years. You're like, oh, life's gonna be over for me here as a young man. So away you go. I did. But yeah, this story, like I say, I promised you guys, since you guys like the first story, I would give you a bunch more, and I will. And so it's kind of like every single day, I'm starting to remember back, or remembering all these different things. It's like, oh, there's another good one, right? I got lots of them, like I said. So this particular story, I had gotten a ride out with some truck drivers that were friends of my dad, and I actually got off in Edmonton. Got out, started hitchhiking towards BC, and I got picked up by a guy just outside Edmonton. And we went up through like Hope, British Columbia, where Rambo was filmed. So I got to see that. That was really cool. They didn't have the statue out. It was still early in the spring and it wasn't out yet. And I spent a good part of the summer that year out in the mountains. And I have a few stories that I'll tell on here of those times from that trip. But this first one is something that I'll never really forget. It was absolutely crazy. I got two stories for you, by the way, today. So, because the second one kind of ties in with the first one. So, the first one I was 28 years old. The second one was just last fall. So, when I was 50 years old. But you'll see why they just tie together because they're animals. These stories have to do with animals this time. And in my first story, there was only one other guy besides me. And this is a story that's like kind of heartwarming. It ends in a good way. And the guy, well, how can I say this? This guy helped me without even knowing he was helping me. And you'll understand when I tell this story. So I'll go ahead and get started with that. But yeah, to that man, if you ever see this story and you're like, holy shit, that was actually me, thank you so very, very much. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to kind of come back to that after I tell the story. But again, if you're that guy, you probably won't recognize me now, that's for sure. You only saw me for like 4 seconds in your entire life, but you might remember when I tell this story. You may be that guy that hears this story and says, wow, that was actually me. That was my place. That was my property where this guy's talking about. So you never know. It could be you. And if it is you, again, thank you. So before I take any more of your time, let's get started. This one is kind of scary, a little bit. At least it was for me when it happened. So this ride I got through BC, through the mountains, and we went on, and I was way off in northern British Columbia, which is kind of like northern Ontario. It's more flat land instead of the mountains, and just trees everywhere. So I was a long way out there, and I don't remember the name of this little town that I got dropped off in. I spent the night down by the river. Then I got up the next day, and I started heading for an actual little ghost town that used to be a little like gold rush town. And now they've got it set up like tourists and stuff can go there. So I thought that sounded really cool and I wanted to go see it. So I get out to the road, the back road that leads into this thing. And I mean, we're talking like it's going to be 20 miles or so. I got to travel on this back road. I'm hitchhiking and there's no cars. Not on this back road. There's just no cars. So I'm just walking and walking and walking. And as we know, British Columbia has not only grizzly bears, but black bears. Now, me, I'm a lot more worried about grizzly bears, as you should be, and I was every night. I didn't sleep at night. I slept for a few hours each morning and just stayed in my tent, kind of alert all night and listening. I wouldn't let myself sleep. I didn't want to get eaten alive. But yeah, so this day, I'm walking along. Beautiful British Columbia day. Rains every 10 minutes and then the sun comes back out, right? Like, it's just, but I was enjoying my day. Peaceful, just walking along on this road. I got my bag over my shoulder, my tent strapped on it and stuff. I'm just traveling on foot, being a young guy, doing one last hurrah. And so I'm walking along. And so this road's got forest, heavy forest on both sides of it, right? And there is the odd house on this road before you get all the way back into where this little abandoned ghost town thing is. So on my way back in there, walking along, like I say, and here off to my right side, I start hearing some noises. And they're loud, and they're coming fast, whatever these noises are. They're coming kind of towards me. So by instinct, I just stopped. Like, what's going on? And I'm watching. And out through the bush comes this bear. He runs across the road in front of me, a black bear. He's maybe 20 yards away from me, and he's moving fast. I've never seen a bear run so fast. He ran across in front of me, and the bear literally never looked my way. I don't think he ever knew I was there. You know what I mean? Now, I thought this bear heard me walking, got scared, and just wanted to get out of the area, right? So that's probably why he's running, is because he heard me and he was afraid, and oh my God, I don't know what that is, I'm going to run away. So, like I say, I was already stopped. The bear goes across in front of me, and for a split second, when that happens to you and you're all alone, no weapons of any kind, no way to defend yourself, didn't even have any bear spray or nothing. When something like that happens to you, it's instinct for you to stop and be like, oh shit, I might be in trouble here. And I waited a moment and I listened, right? I can hear the bear moving off because he's moving still. He's going fast, but I wanted to make sure that bear wasn't going to turn back before I started walking, because if he comes back and runs back across the road for any reason and I keep walking, now I'm going to be right where he comes out. You don't want to do that, right? Remember, the bear's on this side of the road now, so he's on my left side. So like I say, I'm listening and I can hear him getting a little farther and a little farther away from me. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm safe. I'm going to go ahead and quietly start walking and just get out of here, get out of the area. That was like kind of too close for comfort, right? It's a bear. So I start taking a few footsteps. Remember, this bear had went to my left, he'd come from my right. I take like 10 footsteps. I close this 20-yard gap where me and this bear was. And over here to the right, here it comes again. Something else now is crashing through the woods, only this time I'm like, oh shit, it's another bear coming. And now I'm right there where he's going to come out. Like, he's literally going to run into me. That was terrifying in a way. I didn't know what was going to happen. So, like, you don't want to run in those situations. I kind of froze up for a second, like, and I'm like, I don't know if he's going to pop out exactly where I am, or to one side or the other, so I'm kind of getting ready to dodge this bear. Like, and you want to talk about scary, because this thing's coming out right there exactly where I am. And as it turns out, the bear that ran away, he didn't hear me. He was not running from me. He was being chased by something bigger. And this was a big bear, guys. This was one of the biggest black bears I've ever seen in my life. He's being chased by something even bigger. And now that thing that's even bigger is 2 seconds from popping out and running into yours truly, straight up, face to face. So that's exactly what happened. Out pops this monster, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I have never seen two things. I've never seen a dog that big in my life, ever, up until that point. Biggest dog I've ever seen. He was bigger than the bear. The second thing I've never seen was a dog so confused, ever. He literally hit the brakes, and he's looking at me, and the dog's like, I was just chasing a bear. Where did you come from, buddy? Like, what, literally the dog, I'm telling you guys, if I would have had a camera, that would have made me millions of dollars, because the look on his face, he's chasing a bear off his property and he runs into a human right there where the bear was. So he was really just looking at me like, who are you? What are you doing here? What happened to the bear I'm chasing? Like, it just blew his mind, right? So now I'm thinking, for the second time in 10 minutes, I'm thinking, oh, I might be dead. But no, he's friendly. Thank God, right? He literally come out, and I could tell by the way he approached me that he's just a big, friendly dog. So I'm thinking, okay, thank God. But I'm still kind of nervous of the bear. But now I got this big dog for protection. The bear was literally running from me. So we start walking together. And this dog walks with me up the road, probably like a quarter mile. And kind of you can tell by the trees. I'm walking past somebody's property where there's a house, but there's trees all across in front, so you can't see in. But I can see a driveway up ahead of me. You know, the trees are over here and the driveway comes out from the trees and out to the road. And as I'm looking ahead, what do I see but this big lumberjack looking bushman guy, right? Comes running out his driveway and he's like looking around the corner. He's looking for his dog. I think he knew he was probably out back and seen the dog took off after a bear. So he was running to go see where his dog was and what was going on. You know what I mean? Because his dog's after a bear. So he comes running out his driveway. Now this guy stops and he's looking at me like the same way his dog's looking at me, like, what is going on? But you know what, that guy, he looked at me and I think maybe he could see the fear on my face. I don't know. But he kind of looked at me, confused at first for a second, like, what the hell's going on here? He sees his dog with me. And then as soon as the dog saw him, by the way, the dog left me and went running to his owner, of course. And I waved to the guy and he was still a ways away. So I just waved to him and he looked down at his dog and he looked at me and he was like, he knew somehow, that guy. Like, it was like he knew, yeah, you just got, you know, my dog just walked you back up. That guy didn't even know that bear that his dog was chasing ran right directly across in front of me. But he was kind of looking at me like, yeah, this guy looks like he just saw something. He looks scared and looks like my dog just saved him. So if that was you, again, if you're that guy and you see this out in British Columbia, that was me, and thank you so much. Thank God for your dog. That was so long ago now. A big dog like that probably, sadly, would have passed on by now. But I want you to know, I'll never forget you and your dog. It's not like you sent your dog out there to save me or anything. You didn't even know I was there. I'm just a guy walking by. But honestly, you know, what a comfortable feeling to have the biggest dog in the world pop out when a bear just passed you, and then the dog like walks you home, will walk me to his home. Wasn't long after that, two young guys picked me up. I went in to that ghost town thing. I got lots of pictures, which I still have up my mom's attic somewhere. That was a really good trip. That was a neat little ghost town. I'm sorry I can't remember the name of it right now. If I ever remember the name of that, I'll put it in the comments, eh? But yeah, so that was really cool. And like I say, if you are that guy, if you ever see this, thank you so much for that. Thank God for your dog, you know. Like, man, I'll never forget that dog, ever. That was great. But that just shows you, like, these stories I'm going to be giving you guys, a lot of them are good stories like that, where they're kind of a heartwarming story. The dog clearly could see that he had a guy that was terrified. You know what I mean? Especially a lot younger then. I'd probably still be afraid. I mean, they're bears. They're going to, you know. And, yeah, so that one I just kind of re-remembered today. I was like, oh yeah, it's a good story. I want to give that to you guys tonight. That was a really good one, and I got a million more stories I want to go over with you guys. But so I had mentioned at the start of this video that I was going to give you two stories that kind of, here's the thing. When I heard that bear coming, I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was something big, and there's moose and everything out there. I don't know what it is, and there's also grizzlies, so you're stopping, right? And it turned out to be that black bear running across. One of the reasons I was worried about that bear coming back across is because the animals get spooked, and they do things like that, and I've seen it before. I'm a country boy. I've seen it before. Excuse me. I actually just saw that this fall. Like I said, I'm gonna give you this is the second story now. So just so you'll know that even back then, this was the kind of thing that happens with animals. So I'll give you my second story as an example of what can happen. Just this fall, before I put my bike away for the winter, in the summer, I just cruise to work, right? Two wheels, it's nice, it's beautiful. What I got is a habit, I take some back roads to work, because there's less traffic and they're not going as fast. And being a motorcycle rider, I don't want to get killed, so I take every precaution that I possibly can. Now, I like cruising. I like just sitting back and cruising to work. Even though I'm on a crotch rocket, I'm not really one to just go flying. However, we all know that's fun, so there's certain times where old Buckmeister might just open her up a little, lean in and go. And the one road that I do that on is where this next story takes place. I'm going home one day, and like I say, sometimes on this one particular side road that links me to the two main roads I need, sometimes I just open her up on that road just a little, because there's no houses. It's nice and straight. It's perfectly straight. Nobody's going to be pulling out. There's no driveways. There's no houses. There's no nothing. It's just a road and fields. However, the one part of that road I never go fast because there's bushes there. And in the spring when I'm going out, I could take a camera and have it on my bike maybe and catch it. There's always a deer that has like a baby in there. And she's always around there. So I know the deer are around in that forest, just a little patch of woods in this one part of this road. So if you're flying by there on your motorcycle and a deer comes out, I've seen people killed that way. With my own eyes, I've seen that. So I don't want to be one of those guys, right? So this year, I'm coming home from work. So I'm going the opposite way. I'm coming up to where that bush is. And I'm looking up ahead of me in the middle of the road. And it looks a little blurry. You know what I mean? Like something's blurry. So automatically back down on the throttle a little bit. And you're kind of looking. And then I realize I've got two deer standing on the road in front of me, right? So I slow down to a somewhat normal speed and I'm coming up to them. I'm going slow enough to give those deer time to go ahead and run off the road. Well, wouldn't you know it? One goes this way into the bushes, the other one goes this way, and the corn's already been cut off the field and everything, so there's no cover for this deer that goes this way. There's nothing. This guy's over here safe in the bushes. He's in the trees, so he's gone. This guy over here, he runs down to the field and he stops. He starts doing this, looking around. Well, I shouldn't say he, it was a doe. But anyway, so I start slowing down a little more. I'm like, she's going to come back across that road to go join her friend because she's over there in the open and she's scared, right? Her friend's not going to come out of the bush where he's already safe or she's already safe and come join the one that's out in the open. She's going back across. So if I just go flying by, right? Pow, I'm going to eat that. I know I'm going to. So I start slowing down a little more. And I'm watching her kind of back and forth over here. She's thinking, she doesn't know what to do. And so I slow down just a bit more because I'm closing that distance. Like she's going to come up and they'll hit you. They don't care even if you're standing still. Like they'll go right through you if they have. They just want to get away. Panic mode. So she starts coming up out of that ditch and now I see she's coming. I know she's going to, I was going to go out by her at like 2 miles an hour if I had to, if she just stayed there, you know, real easy to watch. So now I see she's coming right back across in front of me. So she got up and I come to a dead stop because she kind of still hesitated a bit until she saw me that I was right stopped. And then she went ahead and crossed at like 10 feet. I just left her enough room that she was safe and away she went. And that's very important with deer. You really got to give them that space because if you're even in a car and you get up real close to them and they're on the road and they're not sure which way to go, they'll jump onto your car sometimes. And I've seen that happen too. Because they panic and they don't know what to do. So back in the old days when I was 28 with that bear story, that's why I was kind of thinking like, is this guy going to come back? You never know what a wild animal's going to do. You never know. So you always got to be careful, right? But yeah, one time, if you guys want a third little quick story here about deer, one time I was riding to work with my buddy Critter, and I'm not going to drop too many names on here. That's not his real name. But anyway, me and Critter are going to work one day. We always had to go in at 4 o'clock in the morning. So we're riding in his new Cadillac Escalade. I know, rednecks, right? But that's what we're riding in. And he had just got it. It was used, but it was new to him. So we're going down the road, Port Davison Road, Ontario, heading for Smithville. And here's these deer. There's 3 or 4 on the road. So he starts slowing down like he's going to stop, and I think he's going to stop. And the deer start moving, same thing exactly. They start moving in both directions. He goes to go, and the one is all confused doing that same thing, and I'm yelling at him. I'm like, whoa, 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 stop. So he pulls up. My buddy's a little slow. He pulls up and he stops right there beside where the deer is. I go like this as she bounces off the door, my passenger door. She bounced right off, like she hit hard. She jumped right into the truck, just panicking, trying to get away. Hits the ground, gets up, gets her bearings, and gets going again, and we take off. And I'm like, I told you to stop. When we got to work, we got out, we were looking because like she kicked that thing pretty hard, but there was no damage done to his truck. You know what I mean? And the deer was fine. She ran away, thank God. But you got to give them that distance or they panic. They really, really panic. Just like me when that bear came out, eh? So anyways, guys, that's about all I got for tonight, you know. Mainly it was that bear story, but I just thought I would add that deer story and just so you know what I was thinking even back then. They do this, right? Animals, Maybe I'll go this way, maybe I'll go that way, maybe I'll go this way, maybe I'll go that way. But if you're in the way, you're getting taken out because you're in the way. You know what I mean? As humans, we got to stay out of the way. It's just the way it is. Watching Moby Dick over here, the real old one on TV. Gonna love that movie. Anyways, guys, I gotta get up for work in the morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and post this video, and then I'm gonna post the video of the workout I just did outside. You know, gotta stay strong like Popeye, boys, especially at my age. So I love you guys. Give me a couple days. I'll be back with more stories. I have some that are much greater than this, but I just want to share all my stories with you that are really cool. You know what I mean? So again, this one was kind of like kindness directed towards me, but I will be giving you more stories with me directing kindness towards other people too. It takes all of us to make the world go around. Thank God for that big dog that day. Thank God for that. That's really something you'll never forget. When a dog comes out, sees you're scared, and then walks you back to his house, kind of thing, so that he knows you're safe. Like, and I knew I was safe with him too. I really did. Like, that bear, he was really running. I've never seen a dog that big. He was massive. So that's my story about that. And someday when I get around to it, I'm going to give you the giant snake story that me and another guy saw when we were just kids, that not many people believe me about, but it did happen. It's one of those stories I've told a few people. Some people believe you, some don't. Really doesn't matter, because I know what I saw with my own eyes, and that was crazy. And there was another guy there who I've never really seen since. I haven't seen him since I was a kid. Kind of hope I run into him again. If you see this, let's hook back up so we can tell people about this story, because that needs to be told. That's actually a really good story about something little that happened, but the story maybe a little, but the snake in the story was anything but little. That old man that had warned me about that shit when I moved in there as a kid turned out to be right, and I'll give you that whole story someday. That one's just one more story coming up with Buck. So that'd be that. Thank you guys so much who have subscribed to my channel and commented and liked and stuff. Like, I just can't believe I'm almost at 400 tonight, 400 subscribers. I never thought I'd be there. But like I say, I like doing my workout videos. Nobody watches them, but that's cool. You know, I like a couple people watch them, right? But you guys seem to like the stories, so I'm going to do both. You know what I mean? That way we're all happy. Keep you guys happy with some stories. Keep myself happy with working out. So like I say, see you guys tomorrow night with something, maybe. See how long of a day I have tomorrow. I'm not sure what's going on. It's sometimes better not to know. But anyways, you guys all have a great night. Love you very much. Take it easy, and thank you again for all the support. Thank you guys. Love you.